Now let's come back to the first klesha, that is ignorance. Ignorance about who I really am. The real source of consciousness in yoga philosophy, ignorance about the truth of Purusha or pure consciousness, which results in misidentification. The I, which is pure I, is the Purusha, is the pure consciousness. But this pure consciousness is identified with the objects in material universe, in Prakriti. This identification can be with the house, this identification can be with the car, with the vehicle I drive, this identification can be an identification with a country, this identification can be identification with a particular religious belief, the same identification can be to a relationship, same identification could be to a person. Each identification creates an image. When I say my house, there is an attachment and there is this identification with the house, and the image is that this house is mine. Or I identify with what I do, with my profession or the set of skills that I have. Say I am an engineer. There is an identification and the image is that I am an engineer. Or ideas, concepts, I am great or I am good for nothing. Again, identification with being great or being good for nothing. And if you notice, the ego or I, whatever I think about myself, is a collection of all these images. There are thousands of these images that create the center that I call ego. And from this ego, through these images, there is misidentification and there is an image, and this image I am attached to. This image creates the attachment to the house, to the person, to the relationship, and obscures my vision. I am unable to see the house as a house, a place to live. Rather, I see that house as my house. What is the fact of it? What is the truth behind it? That land has been there for millions of years. Thousands like me have come and gone. And I claim ownership of that land and call that my land or my house. Attachment is to something that I think gives me pleasure. Could be spiritual pleasure, could be material pleasure, could be sexual pleasure, could be psychological pleasure. Whatever I think gives me pleasure, I pursue it endlessly. That is due to my attachment. And somehow we consider attachment to be very positive. You know, you hear people saying, I'm very attached to my family, I'm very attached to my kid, I'm very attached to my wife or my husband. We need to really question that. Is there anything great about attachment? If we just look at the meaning of the word attach, it's stuck together, bound, without any freedom. From this attachment comes my insecurities, my fear. Attachment breeds fear.